Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you his service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ayana MD. Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: The church, the youth and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Fio. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu. Will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility for Kwasi Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927 AYPA ADC Mobile.
Right, good evening and welcome to the 23rd Annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures, which is brought to you by the Accra Diocesan AYPA this year. Now this year, we are bringing you a fully virtual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures, of course in the midst of the COVID-19 situation that we seem to find ourselves in. And for which reason I would like to welcome you if you have joined us on Adoatv or live on Adoatv Facebook page, or even if you have connected with us on our Zoom platform. Welcome to the 23rd Annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures. Over the years, the AYPA across the country has every year celebrated the Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Celebrations. These memorial celebrations have been celebrated to commemorate the yeoman's job that the founder of the AYPA, the late Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson, did in bringing the AYPA to Ghana in the year 1951. So 70 years down the line, the Anglican Young People's Association has survived. It has stood the test of time. It has produced young men and women who have continuously kept blazing the trail of the Anglican Church and supporting the church, and of course supporting the mission of Christ here on earth. And so every year we congregate like this to mark the yeoman's job that the founder has put in place to bring the association to us. This year we started the celebrations with the official launch at the Christ the King Anglican Church in Sakumono. And today, Thursday the 25th of February, we are bringing you the memorial lecture. This year's memorial lecture is on the theme, the church, the youth, and COVID-19. And of course, the theme goes a long way to put in perspective the fact that across the world, we have been battling with this COVID-19 pandemic, and as a church, we have not been left out. As you all may recollect, in March 2020, Ghana was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic when we experienced the first of such situation on our shores. And of course, going forward, the church was locked down for several months, after which we had to reopen our churches for worship to begin again. We would want to analyze in this year's memorial lecture how the COVID-19 pandemic had affected the church, how it has affected the work of young people across the world, but particularly within the Anglican Church. And more importantly, the lessons that we can learn going forward and how we can brace ourselves for the situation as we move forward. And so wherever it is that you have joined us, of course, we know that this year's celebrations will be a little different from what you are used to, where we all meet together and we, enjoy having to engage in our physical face-to-face meetings. But be that as it may, we promise you that it is going to be a memorable celebration, albeit virtual. We have a lineup that promises to produce for you all the learnings that we are supposed to glean in these times of a pandemic. And very soon I'll go ahead to introduce our guests who are going to be speaking on the program this evening. Remember also that just as we have done over the years, the celebrations this year would be for us to see how best we can put our acts together to mobilize resources to go support a social responsibility project that the AYPA puts up every year. just as we started last year, this year, the Anglican Health Center in Pokwase will be our focus to support the health center and to see how best we can help in tiling the OPD department of the health center. Without much ado, let me move on to introduce our guest for this evening's event. Remember that if you have joined us on television, or you have joined us on Facebook Live, or you have connected with us via Zoom, you can send in your questions and comments even as the show goes on. The number to send in your questions and comments will be rolling up on the screen, but please take note. You have to send in your questions and comments to the WhatsApp number 0206 713 612. WhatsApp number 0206 713 612. Now, just as we've been doing with our physical events, you would usually notice that for our Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations, we'll have a chairman who would sit in the chair to steer the affairs of the event. Of course, we'll have a guest speaker who will speak to us on the particular topic that has been selected for today. And we are not going to leave any of those out. Today, we have put together a classic guest who are going to do justice to that. To sit in the chair, albeit virtually, is one of our own. An individual who have gone through the ranks so far as the Anglican Young People's Association is concerned. An Anglican who worships with the Ascension Anglican Church in Ashaleboche and has over the years played his role within the fold of the AYPA. Of course, as a member of the St. Paul Anglican AYPA in the late 90s and the early 2000s, our chairman played his role as secretary of the local branch, the St. Paul branch of the AYPA in La, and then of course was elected assistant secretary of the Cathedral District Council of the AYPA in the year 2002. As secretary, of course, he joined the rapporteurs committee that developed the communique for the AYPA Biennial Delegates Conference that was held at the St. Monica College of Education in Asante Mampo in the year 2000. Which means that the chairperson that we have to grace our occasion today has been someone who has been with the association since the 1990s right through to the early 2000s. But he's somebody who is also profound in the area of academics. As an academician, he holds a PhD in public administration and policy management, of course the same field that he acquired his degree and his MPhil, Master of Philosophy, from the University of Ghana in Legon. He currently teaches or lectures at the Faculty of Management Studies of the University for Professional Studies, UPSA, Accra. Our chairman for this evening's occasion, Dr. Gerald Joseph Tete Nyanyofio, has over the years served on many of the academic boards within the UPSA system, and of course has played a role within the University Teachers Association of Ghana, the UPSA branch, where he has served both as organizing secretary and secretary. From 2016 to 2020, Dr. Gerald Joseph Tete Nyanyofio, our chairman for this evening's event, served as coordinator for the management program, MPhil and Masters in Leadership, MBA Total Quality Management, as well as the Master of Business Administration program in Corporate Governance and Marketing. He has also served on various academic committees which develop several programs within including the BSc Real Estate Management and Finance, as well as a Global MBA in Impact, Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Of course, as an Anglican true and true, he has served on the altar of God from the early 1990s, of course, precisely in 1993 on the altar of St. Paul Anglican Church in La, where he continued as a member of the AYPA and has ever since remained a resolute member of the Anglican Communion. Currently, he serves as secretary for the Parish Church Council, PCC, of the Ascension Anglican Church in Ashaleboche. And so this evening, our chairman for the occasion, Dr. Joseph Gerald Tete Nyanyofio. Dr. Nyanyofio, you are welcome. If you can hear me, kindly unmute and let's acknowledge that you are with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very well. So, of course, As a member of the association who has been around all these years, we know that you will never turn us down, as we have invited you to chair this virtual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures for this year 2021. Of course, the 23rd Annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures. So, without much ado, let me invite you to deliver your opening remarks as chairman for the occasion, even as we look forward to you also accepting this virtual invitation to join us.
All right, so Mr. President, grateful for the opportunity to be part of this celebration. And since I don't have any protocols to stand on, let me extend my heartwarming regards to His Lordship, Right Reverend Dr. Daniel Toto, and all the key actors who have made this occasion a possibility. I also wish to thank the leadership of the AYPA for my nomination as the chair of this function. In fact, we are all aware this is a flagship program of the association that has actually stood a test of time. And I'm very much inspired to be part of this program.
Is my mic on air?
And whilst accepting to do so, let me make a few remarks and say that the association, which has nurtured us into what we are today, has grown from strength to strength over the years. And we are inspired by this, perhaps, progress that we have made. In fact, the selection of our topic for discussion this evening is even a testimony of how proactive the association and relevant the association can be in the scheme of things as far as the development of our church and this nation are concerned. We are all aware of the public health crisis that we all go through as a people. Starting right from Wuhan in the year 2019, the novel COVID-19 pandemic has ravaged many nations, leaving powerful countries and big corporations, to their needs. And Ghana has not been an exception at all. We have had our own share of the spread. As rightly stated, right from March 2020, with the arrival of two infected travelers from Turkey and Norway, Ghana has continued to experience spike in the spread of the virus. And as a church, we have to respond and keep safe and keep the nation safe. And so the choice of the topic is very appropriate for all of us, not only as a church, but as a nation and as a people. And I'm sure the import of this lecture is in response to that charge that we all need a multi-stakeholder approach to handle the spread of the virus. We all know the decisive and able leadership of His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, which has actually caught the admiration of the international community. That notwithstanding, the continuous spike in the number of critical cases is worrisome and needs all of us to be up and doing to address, and to halt the spread in its tracks. And I also feel the appointment of our Professor Alex Dodu to be in the seat to deliver the lecture tonight is not only appropriate, but very much a testament of what quality human resource base the church can churn out, the people who are contributing their quota to the development of this nation. We all know Professor Alex Dodu is one of the few people you would want to listen to when it comes to public health and safety matters. In fact, he's in a class of his own, and so his nomination is very appropriate and also an eloquent endorsement of what the church can contribute to our nation building. On my own part, I'm filled with a lot of joy and trepidation at the same time, knowing the quality of our senior members in the church who have sat in this chair to steer the affairs of this function. However, I am comforted that the AYPA is a learning ground, and with your cooperation, we'll be able to steer the affairs of this lecture to its logical conclusion. On this note, I accept the challenge to be in the chair and would invite you to get Professor on board to educate us.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Joseph Gerald Nyanyofio, our chairman, for this evening's occasion. Of course, Dr. Nyanyofio, in his truest sense as an academician, a politician, and a true Anglican, has tried his very best to box together how the church, the country, and of course society in general, has come to be affected by this COVID-19 situation, and how we can all put ourselves together in making sure that we fight it collectively. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Joseph Gerald Nyanyofio, for your opening remarks. Of course, let me continue to remind you that you can join in the conversation by sending in your questions and comments via WhatsApp. The number to send in your questions and comments to is 0206 713 612 0206 713 612. Of course, if you have joined us on Adoatv, you can send in your comments through those means. If you have also joined us on Facebook Live, remember that you can take advantage of the Facebook Live platform to send in your comments and questions, and we'll do well to address those questions and comments for you. Let me remind you that this is the 23rd annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures, which is put together by the Accra Diocesan AYPA. And this year, of course, just as we have endured COVID-19 since 2020, we have endured COVID-19 since 2020, we have decided not to have the event as a physical event as we have always used it, but we have also been able to ensure that as we have a virtual event, we can have you join us from wherever it is that you are joining us. We know that we are having our colleagues who are joining us from across the country, various diocesan officials who have joined us, as well as the various officials who have joined us from the various dioceses. We are grateful to you. The Vice President of the AYPA Accra Diocese, Sister Nadesha Kon Mensah, who is joining us live. We also have live on our Zoom platform our Chairman for the Diocesan Youth and Children Ministry, our very own Mr. Charles Kojo Adi, joining us on the Zoom platform. We have various archdeaconry leaders joining us, and we even have those friends of the AYP or members of the AYP who are in the diaspora. I can see our brother Leslie Aye, a former treasurer of the association, as well as brother Lucas Samuel, a former treasurer of the Diocesan Association, all joining us. Sister Natalie Adi, the archdeaconry president for Accra North Archdeaconry, together with her colleague archdeaconry presidents, joining us on the various platforms. For those of you who have joined us on Zoom also, we are grateful that you found time to join us. Those of you who have joined us on Facebook Live, we are grateful that you found time to join us. Let me continue to remind you that even as we get ready to invite our guest speaker to deliver his keynote address, remember that this annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures has been put together as a platform that allows all AYPA members to congregate around a subject matter that is of church interest. So the AYPA within the Accra Diocese has over the years anchored church interest advocacy as a very important theme that continues to inform the various issues that we bring on board our Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations. Those of you who can remember last year, marking the 5th anniversary of the coming into force of the Youth and Children Policy of the Accra Diocese of the Anglican Church, we had the pleasure of the Lord Bishop of Accra joining us to speak about the Youth and Children Policy and how we are looking at going forward with it. In the same vein, 2 years ago, we had the chairman for the Diocesan Board on Finance joining us on the Diocesan 5-year financial sustainability plan, where he explained to young people within the diocese how we could all come on board to help the diocese achieve the 5-year diocesan sustainability plan. Over the years, we have had many distinguished speakers who have joined us on the platform of the Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations to share with us their experiences and their areas of expertise, as it were. Now, we have also used the Bishop Aruna Nelson celebrations as a platform to celebrate our very own who have excelled, especially in the area of academics. And that is how come last year we had the privilege of having on our program as chairman a past diocesan president and national president of the association, in the person of Dr. Nitaki, joining us as chairperson for the occasion. And this year, of course, within that same spirit, we celebrate our very own Dr. Joseph Gerald Tetanyanyofio, who has distinguished himself in the area of public policy, and has climbed to the height of a PhD in that regard. So we congratulate him in that regard. Very soon, we will also, in the course of the program, be showing you a video on some of the social responsibility projects that the AYPA has embarked on, and how our social responsibility project has gone a long way to affect many lives in various medical facilities across the Greater Accra region, as well as educational facilities that have also seen the corporate social responsibility efforts of the Accra Diocesan AYPA. Now, it is instructive to note that as part of our corporate social responsibility project, we try as much as possible to impact various facilities, health facilities, educational facilities within the jurisdiction that the AYPA finds itself in. And very soon we'll be going live onto our Zoom platform to get some of our distinguished guests who have joined us on that platform announce their presence. Of course, we know that we have the chairman of the Youth and Children Ministry on there, the Diocesan Vice President on there, as well as some of the other guests. Will be coming to you very soon to have you acknowledged as having joined us for this auspicious event. So, Brother Charles Kojo, the chairman of the Diocesan Youth and Children Board, if you are on with us, can we acknowledge your presence in here by simply unmuting and sending us your warm regards?
Yeah, good evening, fellow church members and workers.
And we'll be happy, Brother Charles, if you are unable, because we are on TV, if you are able to enable your video, we'll be very much appreciative of that. If we'll have to give you some time to.
You know, it was just closing of work and I am doing a rush hour.
Very well.
So sorry for not being able. I'm using my phone at the moment. I couldn't.
No problems at all. No problems at all.
For that. Yeah, on this occasion, I want to congratulate AYPA and Dr. Nyanyofio, my own man. Thank you and welcome to this year's own. Nice to see you here. And congratulations for all your efforts on the political scene. It's most pleasurable to see AYPA nurtured people rising to that height. And I say again, congratulations. I want to congratulate all AYPA members on this occasion. Celebrating a man worth of Aruna Nelson is not a small thing, and I will say, let's continue and let's pick it up wherever everybody gets into leadership and make sure that you are going to do much more than your predecessors. That is what it is. And I'll say, thanks to the Lord Bishop for an occasion like this, for having brought in his charge a vision that the AYPA will need to carry. And I'm talking about the JY concept. I believe all that the AYPA have now, if we are able to nurture and strategize well, it is going to be a massive future thing for the youth of the church, and leadership of the church will never regret. Because what we are seeing now is long-term thing that has been done unstructured. But yes, sir, we have come this far. So if we're structured, I believe we'll go far. And for the COVID, I say kudos to my brother Samuel Bin. I know he knows the level that the COVID needs to be carried. And my brothers and sisters, let's mass up and let's really do it. You have shown that COVID or no COVID, the youth of Anglican Church will strive, and I'm very impressed. Thank you, and we thank God, and we please that tonight's program is going to be a success. Thank you, and let's have a nice program. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very, very much, Brother Charles Kojo, Chairman of the Diocesan Youth and Children Ministry, for your kind words to the AYPA, to the youth, and of course to the church in general, even as we try to mark these celebrations. Now, we would, as we go forward, we'll try to identify some of our other distinguished guests who have joined us from the various departments and boards and various departments of the church, so that we can also have a word or two from them. At this moment, I think that I am unable to identify. We would identify them in the course of the program. But as we go on, let me continue to announce to you that you can send in your comments and questions as we try to very soon get on board our guest speaker, who will be delivering the keynote address for today's Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture. Remember that this year's Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture is the 23rd in the series of annual memorial lectures that are put together by the Diocesan AYPA, and we have done our very best in ensuring that every year we choose a particular topic that goes a long way to help grow the church, the youth, and our nation at large. And that is how come this year we have selected the topic, the church, the youth, and COVID-19 as our main subject matter for this year's Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture. And of course, we have announced to you that the specially invited guest who we have to deliver the lecture to us this evening is one that comes in with a lot of experience, especially within this area of, or this field of work. Now, even as we get ready to welcome our guest speaker to speak to us as he gets himself settled into the system, let me remind you that as his presentation goes on, you can send us your questions and your comments. There will be time for us to ask questions, but that will have to be sent in through text, so that we can be able to read it out to our guest speaker, who is also joining us via Zoom, so he can address your respective questions. The number to send in your WhatsApp messages is 0206 713 612, 0206 713 612. And if you have joined us on Facebook Live, you can also put your questions and comments on the Facebook Live platform so that we can address them accordingly. So without much ado, I'll go ahead to introduce our guest speaker for this evening's occasion, who would speak to us on matters relating to our selected topic for today, the church, the youth, and COVID-19. Our guest speaker is a man who also belongs to the Anglican fold. He is a member of our church. He worships with the Cathedral Church of the Most Holy Trinity. But of course, on the subject that has been selected for today, he is one person that is very well equipped to speak to us on that particular subject matter. And this is because in his various areas of expertise as a professional within the sciences, he has built for himself credibility and a very reputable credential in this area. He currently serves as the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, the authority that has been clothed with the right to ensure that things that comes into our country meet the right standards. And of course, he has over the years built for himself expertise in the areas of, he's a pharmacist, I must say. He's a pharmacist who, over the years, has built for himself great credentials in that particular field. Professor Alex Dodu does not only serve as Director General for the Ghana Standards Authority, but as an Associate Professor at the Center for Tropical Clinical Pharmacology, School of Medicine and Dentistry at the University of Ghana. He is the country's representative to the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, and serves on the Council of the African Standards Organization. Over the years, he has written extensively on many subject matters within his field of study, and he has distinguished himself as a Ghanaian pharmacist, an academic, a clinical pharmacologist, and a professor who lectures within our university system. Without much ado, let me welcome Professor Alex Dodo, who has joined us live on Zoom. Prof, if you can hear me, good evening and welcome to this evening's memorial lecture.
Good evening.
And thank you so very much for making time to join us. We are grateful.
You're welcome.
Right. So today, the youth of the Anglican Church within the Accra Diocese, of course, having been joined by our colleagues who are in the various dioceses watching live on Adoatv and watching on Facebook Live, have joined to hear you speak to us about the church, the youth, and COVID-19. So, Prof, over to you as we listen to your presentation on this subject matter.
Thank you very much. And I hope I can share my screen to show a few.
Of course you can. Of course you can, sir. So as we get the technical people to enable Prof to be able to share his screen, maybe Prof, you can continue to make your delivery as the technical team tries to give you access to share your screen.
Right. So I'll wait for the access to come. My name is Alex Dodo. I work, as you heard, as the Director General of the Standards Authority. And yes, my background is pharmacy, clinical pharmacology, Anglican through and through. Okay. I still worship the Racket University. And I think I am a member of the Guild of the Servants of the Sanctuary. I am also a member of the Brotherhood of St. Michael's and All Angels at Cathedral. I am a member of the King's Club, but I'm also a member of St. Michael's Club at the Parish Church of St. Michael's and All. So I suppose I am heavily involved in the church, and I'm
that's right.
The church, and it's my privilege to be able to talk to my church on an area that I like. So whilst waiting for the slides,
yeah. Yes, the technical team is trying to fix you on that, Prof. So please indulge us for a few minutes. But of course, we know that you can start with your preliminary, comments even as they try to do that.
Sure. I hope there is no feedback on your screens for my lecture, and that your participants can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you live and very clearly.
So what I thought I would do is to discuss.
And Prof, you can start sharing your screen now if you are ready for that. I'm informed by the technical team that you've been enabled so to do.
Right. I would see whether I've been given access. This is okay. You guys are power. Right now, let me the screen ready. I've not been given the power to share.
Okay.
Amazing. So yep, I've got it now. I'm sharing.
Right.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see your slides now, so you can put it in PowerPoint mode so that it can be very visible for our TV audience. Great, great.
So I'm speaking to you on a simple topic, and my plan is to be very brief because we're on a virtual team, and people need to have something. So I'm speaking to you on the church, the youth, and COVID. I will do three things. Speak briefly about COVID, discuss COVID and the youth, discuss COVID and the church, and conclude by making the statement that we can turn the crisis of COVID into an opportunity for the youth. And I repeat, but before I even go there, let me actually welcome my big brother, my friend, my young brother, both big and young, Gerald, because we interact a lot, and I know he's on the program like yes, I can see him. Gerald, good evening. So
good evening, Prof, and thanks for indulging us.
Thank you very much, Doc. Now, You are saying I've asked a question, what are coronaviruses? COVID-19 is not the only coronavirus that we know. There have been several. In fact, prior to COVID-19, there were 4. Actually, coronavirus 2019. So in December 2019, a new strain of coronavirus was discovered in Wuhan in China. In fact, we were calling it Wuhan coronavirus. But the global community have a way of naming diseases. And following discussions, it was realized that yes, it might have been first detected in China, but it's global. So the name was severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, or SARS-CoV-2. In fact, when you go for a test for coronavirus, we can do a general coronavirus test, which will say you are positive, or we can test for COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. And thankfully, all the tests we are doing currently is for SARS. Now, as we know, it's a pandemic, and people say, what is a pandemic? What is an epidemic? Epidemic is a disease that affects a lot of people. It's normally called a pandemic when it spreads across geographies. So you have a disease affecting a lot of people. There can be an epidemic of cholera in Ghana. It becomes a pandemic when, at the same time, it affects multiple countries. So you can, for lack of a simpler description, call it a global epidemic. And that is what you look at as a pandemic. I hope I'm speaking in my usual slow speed. I hear I speak very fast. I try to be balanced. Now, let's look at the symptoms of SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. If you get a fever, please report to the doctor. Dry cough or tiredness. These are the 3 things that all 3 happen at the same time. When you add loss of taste, smell, you really get worried. But amongst the rest, you can also get pains, nasal conjunctivitis, and the rest. Please note, these symptoms can occur with malaria. They can occur with typhoid. They can occur with a lot of other conditions. So we have to always be able to separate the fever that is SARS-CoV-2 from SARS-CoV-2 by taking the test. So the fact that someone has these symptoms does not necessarily mean that they have SARS-CoV-2. The fact that you have a fever or loss of taste does not necessarily mean that you have COVID-19. Rather, currently, we rely on a laboratory test, either using PCR or antigen test, to definitely say that what you have is SARS-CoV-2. And the good news is that it's curable. It is curable, though unfortunately we've lost a few people as well. Now, fellow Christians, fellow Anglicans, brothers and sisters, the first point I want to make is that COVID-19 is not, and I repeat, not the first pandemic to hit humanity. It's always good to go back to history to understand what has happened in the past so that we can learn from history to prepare for the future. And it's also important to note that throughout history, nothing has killed more human beings than viruses and bacteria. In fact, wars, volcanoes, they don't kill. Viruses and bacteria, they kill more than anything else in humanity. So whether we like it or not, every day in the world, we are at war with germs, bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi. That is why in the US CDC is seen as a military establishment, because the war we have is not just against guns. bazookas and kill, but we can stop that. The wars which kill us, and as you've noticed during COVID, nobody went to the military and said, go and start firing your guns. Because the thing is there to finish anybody, no respecter of persons. So I'm going to take you through pandemics throughout history. What I want everyone to remember, for those watching at home, for those on the call, that even though pandemics have killed us, and it kills in their millions, humanity has always recovered from pandemics. So to quote the words of our president, President Adoatv, these too shall pass. If you remember nothing at all about this lecture, remember that humanity, human beings, our civilization has always recovered from pandemics. So we will recover from COVID-19. Say praise the Lord. This too shall pass. The first recorded plague was what we call the plague of Justinian in AD 541 to 549. It was called the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague was also named after the Roman Emperor Justinian because it occurred in his time. But we don't know how many people died. What we know is that the exact number of people were about 50 million people. And at that time, note, at that time, about half the population of the world at that time died. Interestingly, Pope or the Emperor Justinian said the plague was caused by Christians and started persecuting Christians. So these things have happened as well. Fast forward, the next plague to hit humanity was the Black Death, 1347 to 1351. It was also known as the pestilence, the great mortality, or the plague. It was also a bubonic plague caused by Yersinia pestis, the same thing that caused the Yersinia plague. Now note the interesting part. This is about 700 years ago. This plague is thought to have originated in Asia. Please note, originated in Asia, spread by trading to other parts of the world. Diseases follow ships and planes. That is the basis for closing our borders, because you export them or you import them throughout history. Indeed, the Christians were persecuted by Emperor Justinian because he felt as they went for pilgrimage in Jerusalem, they came back to Rome with disease. So they must be finished. The Black Death came from Asia, but then the world was in Asia and carried it to Europe. It killed between 75 million and 200 million people in Eurasia, that's Europe, Russia, that part, and North Africa. And it reduced the population of some cities, several of them by more than 60%. In 1351, some cities had 60% of the population dead, gone, finished. Then let's look at our generation. The Spanish flu, 1918 to 1919. They are all just like COVID in the sense that they are influenzas. It killed between 50 million and 100 million people. It's difficult to know the full number. It didn't kill, it affected 20 to 40% of the world's population at the time. As in, they got a disease or were affected one way or another. However, it killed more people than the First World War. The First World War occurred from 1914 to 1918. Immediately the war ended, the Spanish flu came, and it killed between 50 and 100 million people. Please note, a lot of the First World War and the Second World War were fought in Asia. And these things spread. It was caused by a virus called the H1N1 virus. Come 1957 to 1958, another virus called H2N2 killed between 1 to 4 million people, called the Asian flu. 1968, we had the Hong Kong flu, killing about 1 million people. Then in 2009, when we were playing the World Cup in South Africa, we had the swine flu, which killed, it's difficult to know the number, between 150,000 and 600,000. So we have seen flus before, and flus will not go away. Pandemics will not go away, like humanity must do. So what should the youth do? COVID-19 has affected us. It is still an ongoing crisis. We don't know the total number of people who died, but they have been deaths. In Ghana, we are getting close to 1,000. In America, 500,000. By the time it's over, anywhere between 2 and 5 million people have died. In terms of those numbers, you might say, oh, it's okay. One death is one too many. For the youth, the key issues are that COVID-19 has affected education. COVID-19 has affected not just your job, but your prospect for a job and a well-meaning job. So you are either unemployed, underemployed, or not able to look for a job because there are no jobs to look for. COVID-19 has affected social interaction. You cannot even chase your girlfriend or marry or your boyfriend. And on the individual level, you want to go overseas to go and study. You want to get opportunity to get a visa. Even the embassies are closed. So are you going or are you coming? It has stunted your growth as an individual. It has impacted on your movement towards an adult. And as a church and as Anglican Young People's Association, we must now ask that, is this a disaster or is it an opportunity? I would like to submit that as Christians, we should look at it as an opportunity. I believe that COVID-19 is an opportunity to create new businesses and new ways of doing things. And this will be led by the youth. The shares for Zoom as a company went through the roof. I think if you had a share, you get like $1. Now you get like $10,000. If others have done it, we can do it. But the God who created them is the same God who created us. And in sharing his gifts and his blessings, the good Lord we have is not discriminatory. We just have to stand back and say that where are the new? Some are doing face masks, some are doing ventilators. Let's think deep. Do we have new ways of even administering communion? Do you have new ways of trading amongst ourselves? Do you have new ways of serving people who come to our communities? We need new products for sanitizing, for home use, for training, for teaching, for harvesting the food on the farm. Do we have to look at the farms as a learning place because now you have Zoom, you can be farming and learning? Do we have to not take the university from the ivory tower into the community? Trust me, it is the youth, the AYP who can come with the answers. We can suggest, but you have the knowledge. And we live in the fourth industrial revolution. We live in the knowledge economy. Please, 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 AYP, take control. Move from the past. Ignore we the old men who are just looking for government job and give us options. You can change your world. You can change our world. You can transform humanity. And I challenge you to do so because God has given you the powers to do that. Now for the church, how has the church in previous generations dealt with pandemics? And what was the impact of pandemics on Christianity? What is the response, or what was the response of the church to the pandemics of the past? Because some of our leaders who are alive lived through the 1968 pandemic, lived through the 1918 pandemic. And what lessons can we learn from the past to guide us to the future? For the youth, I've said already, in addition to the other ones mentioned, what is the impact of COVID on your religious life, your social life, your family life, your economic life, your national life, your professional development, and any other aspect of what makes a young person, a young woman, and a young man right to move? For females, lockdown is dangerous. The scientific research is that in females who live in countries where there is abuse, COVID has heightened the potential and the opportunity for abuse, for misuse, and for damage. Rapes have increased. Divorces have increased. Female beating, wife beating, husband beating have increased. The youth are staying with their parents. Food is not in the house. The father takes it on the child. So we are living in difficult times. And unfortunately, the youth are most affected. But I'm going to give a case. I've got 3 more slides. This was taken by a statement in 1993 by the Catholic Church of Ghana. Let me quote. They said, as members of the Catholic Church or Anglican Church, we have the privilege and duty to bring the healing Christ, the greatest number of people, especially the most deprived with the view to leading them to the awareness of their problem and to help them to be agents of their own development. Myself and Reverend Ikea, we created and are running a charity, an NGO called Aquitas Foundation. And it's built on the principle that we want to build a fairer world. We need fairness. We need equity. Aquitas is about equity for one another, to each according to his need, from each according to their ability. And this is the responsibility for each individual Christian, but also for the church as a whole. The World Council of Churches says that the COVID situation calls on all Christians for solidarity and accountability. Mindfulness. Don't just look at people with COVID and think, oh, they are losers. They are Christians who have been affected by a pandemic. We must show care. We must show wisdom. But above all, faith, hope, and love should drive our processes. So this is the Anglican response last year from the Archbishop of Canterbury. So in our prayers, in addition to praying for those who are afflicted and for those who are lonely, we should pray for wisdom. And for those in authority. And for strength to be given to medical workers. We should do more than pray. We should also be heeding to the advice of our national governments to contain the virus. And we should care. We should care for those who are unable to care for themselves. So the church should look at this. This is my suggestion to the church. I'm saying that the Anglican Church have given 7 things that they can do. We should be interested in creating jobs for the unemployed and recently unemployed and underemployed. We should care for orphans and widows. We should think of how to administer the Holy Sacraments in the time of COVID. And how do we support the Holy Mother in COVID? How can we create communal wealth? How can Anglicans create money for Anglicans, with Anglicans, to be shared by Anglicans? And how do we evangelize in the time of COVID? And how do we serve and sacrifice in the time of COVID? My last slide is for the AYPA. COVID-19 has changed our world, and AYPA needs to reflect, refocus, update their software, and upgrade its way of doing business to meet the current realities. The Anglican Young People's Association was formed years ago. I'm old enough to remember how the old men were started because they are no longer youth. The AYPA of did not see that technology. They did not see a Zoom world. The AYPA of today should now say that the software that was used to form AYPA must be upgraded to meet the current realities. AYPA should realize that you are a group of people who should work together like a lodge to support one another. Yes, there are gossips and all those little things, but focus on the big things. That if each member of AYPA succeeds, you all succeed. Christianity is not about praying. It's also about Christianity in action.
Zoom are executive committee members and dignitaries. So,
are we moving AYPA to ensure that once and their members will ensure that every member of AYPA who wants to join a university will get a chance? You have, that's the AYPA and the youth. You are remarkably resilient. Throw a child into the water and the child, you have more powers than with the old men. So the question is, where are you on the opportunities? And how would you help your members, the unemployed, the lonely, the hungry, and homeless? This is Christianity in action. So my concluding words is that COVID has changed the world, and young people have been most severely affected. However, the Anglican Young People Association can be the focus for regrowth and for regeneration, one for them and two for the church. And I strongly submit that the Anglican Young People's Association, on this 23rd Aruna Nelson lecture, should look at COVID-19 as a crisis that will become an opportunity to transform AYPA into a global leader for the church. Finally, please focus on the national protocols, sanitizing, social distancing, and of course, self-isolation. My last words, let's look after one another because we just say, Matthew 5:5. That very, very I say unto you, In as much as you did it to one of these little ones, you did it for me. May the good Lord bless us. May He give us the passion for one another, the passion for the things of God and the things of the church. May we look out for one another in these difficult times. May we see the success of each one of us as a success for the entire Anglican community. May Jesus Christ, our Lord, whom we raise in this Lenten period, may the Holy Spirit, who gives wisdom, may God above, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, lead us into fortunes and treasures never thought of. And may the Holy Trinity protect us, guide us, lead us. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Very, 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 very profound thoughts. Yeah, I can see some claps in the background. Very profound views and thoughts shared with us by Professor Alex Dodu. Prof, thank you so very, very much. And for me, this, within a matter of about 30 minutes, seemed to be one of the most profound presentations I have heard on COVID-19, since the pandemic actually hit. Prof has done well to take us from the background. And for those of you who are, before I even come to that, for those of you who are live with us on Zoom, on Facebook, and watching us on TV, particularly for the Zoom folks, you can, at this point, even enable your videos. The technical team will put on screen while we look forward to take some questions from you, if you have any, so that we can put them to Professor Dodu to address the questions as they come in. But what Prof has done with us in a matter of about 30 minutes is that he had not only taken us to the background of this COVID-19 situation that we find currently, of course, tracing it back to Wuhan, but has given us indications of what some of the symptoms of this COVID-19 situation is, so that even as young people, even as members of the church, we can be able to identify the symptoms if we are experiencing any. Prof has even explained to us the difference between a pandemic and an epidemic. So for those of us who didn't know that at the beginning of this presentation, we've been able to appreciate that, and took us through memory lane by giving us some historical antecedents of this COVID-19 situation and how human civilization has always recovered from these pandemics over the years. In a time when it wiped off about 60% of a population, the human race was still able to survive it. As young people within the Anglican Church, Prof has given us indications of how we can make the best out of this situation and how the church itself can make the best out of this situation. And for me, we cannot thank Professor Alex Dodu enough for these great perspectives that he has shared with us, including the 7 suggestions that he has put up for us to consider even in these times of pandemic. So we will invite your questions. If you are joining us on Facebook, you can put your questions up on Facebook. We'll read them to you. If you are joining us on TV, you can send us your questions via WhatsApp 0206-713-612. And if you are on the Zoom platform also, you can send us your questions via the Zoom chat. The number through which you can send your questions on WhatsApp has been presented on our screens, so you can share that with us. And I see some of the messages coming through, including some of our folks who are telling us, sharing with us where they are watching this year's 23rd Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures from. So one of our colleagues sends us this and says, watching you live in Cape Coast, Daniel Tetemate, and sends to us the greetings of the AYPA for Christ and of course the church. We are seeing the other people that our brother is watching with. We are still expecting your questions. When they come in, we'll ask them for you. But in the meantime, Prof, I think that I'll shoot the first bullet really when it comes to the questions on COVID. So this week we have heard the news about vaccines that have come in, and how, as a country, we seem to be the first within the COVAX facility to have received vaccines, the ceremony that went with it. As a church, what should be our approach towards sensitizing our congregation on the vaccination exercise that will be taking place, sooner than later? And what would you advise as a pharmacist par excellence on what our approach should be as a people, as youth, on this vaccination bit when it starts?
The first point I'll make three. Number one, I am absolutely convinced that the decisions being taken by our country are correct, they are technically sound, and they have been taken of interest of the country. Number two, if the vaccine were offered, any of the available were offered to me and my family, I'll take them. I will take them. Now the church has a duty to propagate good news and also to educate against wrong news. To do that correctly, the church must be open. And I repeat, the church must be open to allow members to express their anxiety, their fears, their doubts, no matter how irrational we, the experts, might think they are. You cannot go to the church and ask questions. What else can you do? Let the church be the fountain of good information, of good news, of factual news. Let the church be the place where the truth comes out from, so that our members will not be misled by WhatsApp messages, fake news. Let us create a resource within the Anglican community where members can call and say, look, I don't understand this English. Father, should I go for it or not? And if there's a problem, can I call you? We must be the solution for the people. I mean, you cannot expect an uneducated person to understand what you and I understand. The church should be for a repository for education, for training, and for feeding back to its members, because they are like our children, and Holy Mother, the church, should look after its children.
Very well. Wow. Okay, great. So, Prof, I mean, as a member of the Anglican Church yourself, this repository of information, that you call for, this, ability for us to express ourselves. How do you think the church structure as we have it within the Anglican Church? How do you think our structure from both, the youth structure, our guild structure, our clergy laity relationship and all of that, how do you think all of these structures can be built up, even including the structure of Adoatv, who has given us the platform to air this live today? How can all of these structures be brought to bear in educating our people about the vaccines, about, the safety precautions that we all have to take even as we fight COVID-19?
I have had a lot of discussions over the years with the Lord Bishop of Accra. And I suppose, in fact, I believe that the internal province of Ghana also shares the same. The church should consider that this proud. I believe that we have enough Anglicans who are the Anglicans health professionals who can build. Fortunately, the Republic of Ghana has come up with a lot of facts on what is going on. So my take is that Adoatv, in collaboration with either the Lord Bishop of Accra or preferably the other bishops within the internal province of Ghana, should, as a matter of urgency, call it a help desk or a call center or a place where people can come. We cannot do it in every diocese, but we have to be aware that if we are going to do something like that in the Diocese of Accra, English speakers and Ghana speakers, we need to have them, give them frequently asked questions so that they can just get back to their members. And we need to at least give them a number and say, if you are in your parish, Father, you will link you to this number. There's so much amongst us that we must share in our common interest as Anglicans and as Christians.
Very well. Thank you so very, very much. We still have a lot of the messages coming through. Many of them, of course, giving you thumbs up, Prof, for the great presentation. And, of course, acknowledging that as young people, we have learned a lot from these. Some people are actually associating some numerology to the fact that your 23 slides represents the 23rd Aruna Nelson celebrations that we are marking this year, and I'm wondering how that fits in. But yeah, I mean that's all well and good. That came in from Jonathan. Of course, a lot of commendation coming in from those of our folks who have joined us on the various platforms. There are others also who have joined us on YouTube, and they have sent in their commendations as well. We have some comments coming in. Glad to see that the AYP ADC has taken the memorial lecture to another step. Well done, AYP ADC. This is coming from Ayelgun Sylvester. Well done, Prof, for this enlightened presentation. This is coming from Ashite. Another one says that great and well composed lectures, profound thoughts, well educated about the pandemic in general. Indeed, this is coming from James Amo. Manuel Adi also indicates that the indication that you gave, Doc, Prof, that COVID-19 is an opportunity even for us as young people and the church to take due advantage on is something that will stick with him even as he goes away from here. Others are telling us from where they are streaming live, both on Facebook and on YouTube from. Now, another one that we have here says that, Prof, you indicate that the church should take advantage of information dissemination to educate our congregation about COVID-19. Do you think our church has done enough so far? If yes, what are the areas that we have done well in? If no, what are some of the additional areas that you think the church must take seriously?
Okay, so I remember on the last Sunday before the country went into lockdown, the Dean of the Cathedral, very Reverend Dr. George Napier, had a chat with me, and we agreed that on that Sunday in March 2020, that at each of the 3 services, I will give a lecture on COVID, which I did. That happened to be the last Sunday before we were closed down for the 8 or 9 months. Now, the point I'm making with that demonstration is that church should begin to see the dissemination of health information as part of worship. Do we have to set aside 5 minutes every 2 weeks, every month, just to have a member knowledgeable, trained, and prepared to engage us? You know, you mentioned the issue of vaccines. I have been fortunate to chair the Global Vaccine Safety Initiative for the whole world. And one of the challenges we know coming up with because of the explosion of channels for information is misinformation. And we know that the only way to counteract misinformation is to have an overdose of proper information.
Right.
For people to go for immunization or for vaccination, they need to remove what we call vaccine hesitancy. They have hesitation. People are backing time. I'm retrenching because they are afraid. They are anxious. They are worried. And they must be. But our job as health professionals, and importantly as Christians, is to address the fear, the anxiety, the worry, so that they can take a decision which is in their interest and also in everybody's interest. So I have stated, and I stand by it here, to make space for the dissemination of health information, even if it's just once a month, maximum 10 minutes. At least it sets a culture. And if you take the book of John, the letter to John, the 3rd one, that's the only one chapter. He says that, brethren, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health. He says, I wish above what? All things. That thou may prosper and be in health. So there is a Christian call to good health. Yes, there's the laying on of hands and all those things, but Jesus healed. He healed the sick of their infirmities. He touched them and said, go speak, go talk, go wash and come up from the river, and the leprosy is gone. Jesus didn't say, oh, I'll pray for you. He healed, he touched them and provided healing. And even it's a ministry that the church should take on seriously. So I take it that spending 10 minutes a month to engage for Holy Mother, the church, to engage its children may not be out of place, but this is a synod decision, this is a diocesan decision. And as health workers, we are not to just speak our mind, but the system is different. So we offer that to the church.
And you can be rest assured that on this platform of our Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture, the church takes some of the things that are said on these platforms seriously. And we will not be surprised at all that even as the church gets ready to assemble in its synod, some of these matters will be taken very, very seriously. Because, again, the reason why the AYPA, the Accra Diocese, has taken up COVID as a matter to talk about on the platform of our Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture is because church interest advocacy remains a very important issue that the AYPA within the Accra Diocese wants to take up. And over the years, we have done exactly that. And that is why from the very beginning, I announced how last year we took up the matter of the youth and children within our church. 2 years ago, we took up the issue of the financial sustainability plan within the Accra Diocese. And over the years, we've spoken about other matters that goes to develop the Diocese of Accra. And we are positive that the very things that are being spoken about on this platform will be taken seriously by clergy, lay members who make up our synod. Prof, another question that comes in is that why will people have to why would people have to be vaccinated twice for COVID? What is the reason behind taking 2 shots?
Okay, so let's note there are several vaccines around the world. There's a Pfizer one, there's a Moderna one, there's Johnson & Johnson, there's the AstraZeneca, and then there's the Gamaleya stroke, Sputnik one from the. Currently, we have about 3 being used globally. They are like, if you consider them as health products, each one in the way you use them. You know, even for painkillers, for paracetamol you take 2, for diclofenac you take 1. So note that each product has a way they should be taken. I repeat, each vaccine product has a schedule for each use. Just like each medicine you take may have 1 twice a day, or 3 times a day, or once a day. Number 2, Ghana currently, as of today, and that can change and that will change, has been registered only 2 vaccines. The one from AstraZeneca and the one from the Gamaleya Institute stroke, Russian Ministry of Health called Sputnik. The AstraZeneca one and the Sputnik one are both in at least 4 weeks apart. When you take it, after 4 weeks, you take another dose. Because during their development, it is realized that giving a second dose between 4 and 12 weeks gives a much better protection from disease and from passing on the infection. Now, the unfortunate bit is that there's also the knowledge that that protection may not last forever. Whether after 6 months or you may need to be re-immunized. But by that time, be no COVID around anyway. But that is a separate discussion altogether. So be aware that one, for the Sputnik one and the AstraZeneca that Ghana is using, there will be 2 doses. One is given, and the second one is booster, makes it stronger for you, and you have better protection against the disease and against passing on the disease. A new one is being registered very soon in the US from a company called Johnson & Johnson, and it's a single dose, and you are free. Right. And that also in a year or sometime you need to. So it's just how they are given. And I will not be surprised. You even have a schedule at a particular time you pass 3 doses. So it's just the way the medicine is and the way it's to be given. Like painkillers, how they are administered.
Very well, very well. We're still taking a few more questions for Professor Alex Dodu, even as we try to build our knowledge on this matter of COVID-19. If you have just joined us, remember that you are watching the live telecast or broadcast of the 23rd Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures brought to you by the Accra Diocese and AYPA. For those of us who have joined on Zoom, who are given the special privilege to join on Zoom, you can enable your videos because very soon we'll try to have you on screen so that we know that a lot of you joined us on that platform. But we know that many of you had the opportunity to join us on television and on Facebook Live. We are still taking your questions from those respective platforms. But if you are on Zoom, do well to send us do well to enable your video so that we can recognize you as such. We know that many have joined us from the various dioceses. We have our National AYPA President, Brother Benjamin Reiter, who had joined us all the way from the Second D Diocese. We have Brother Albert Apia, who is a member of the Youth and Children Board of the Accra Diocese, also joining in. We have Kwesi Bonsu Asante, KB Asante, who is with the Programs Department of the Anglican Diocese of Accra. We have the various Archdeaconry presidents also joining us. Brother Prince Botte, President of the Accra East Archdeaconry. We also have the other Archdeaconry presidents. As we go forward, we will acknowledge you as and when. You can continue to send in your messages. Very soon, what we'll be doing is that we'll be going on to take a video slideshow on the social responsibility project that has always been a part of the Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations. Remember that we don't only listen to profound presentations like we have listened to from Professor Alex Dodu during the Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations, but we also stretch a helping hand to various facilities and various groups that need support. So over the years, the AYPA within the Accra Diocese has made donations of tables, chairs to the Anglican school in Boyko. We have gone to the Wager Leprosarium. We have donated various items to well over more than a dozen of hospitals and clinics within the Greater Accra region. We have donated a polytank to the seminary in Cape Coast, the St. Nicholas Seminary, because they had issues with water. And last year, we decided that we are going to adopt the Anglican Health Center in Pokwase, where we'll be embarking on various developmental projects. And so we made various donations to them. And this year, the focus is that the health center has requested from us the need for their OPD department to be tiled so that it makes it, attractive and makes it even health-wise, it makes it convenient for the people that comes in for the various health needs. And that is what we are focusing on as AYPA this year, that at the end of our Aruna Nelson celebrations, we should be able to tile the OPD department of the Anglican Health Center in Pokwase. So if the team is ready, we would like to take the video presentation on some of the social responsibility projects that we have embarked on as AYPA over the years, the various hospitals that we have gone to clean. As we do that, if you have other questions for Professor Alex Dodu, you can send them to us and we'll read them in accordingly. So please, let's now see some of the social responsibility projects that the AYPA within the Accra Diocese has embarked on over the years.
Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you his service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ajana MD. Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: The church, the youth, and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Fio. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu. Will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility for Kwasi Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927 AYPA ADC Mobile.
My God is good, yo.
Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you his service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ajana MD. Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: The church, the youth, and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Fio. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu. Will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility for Kwasi Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927 AYPA ADC Mobile.
My God is good, yo.
Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you his service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ajana MD. Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: The church, the youth, and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Fio. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu. Will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility for Kwasi Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927 AYPA ADC Mobile.
My God is good, yo.
Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you his service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ajana MD. Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: Make the church, the youth, and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Field. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility for Kwasi Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927 AYPA ADC.
Indulging us even as we went on our short break. But of course, in the course of the break, we did very well to show you the social responsibility projects that we have embarked on over the years, and we also did well to give you an indication of how you can support these social responsibility projects simply by donating through our mobile money platforms, the official mobile money platform for the Accra Diocesan AYPA, so that we can also add up your contribution towards supporting the Pokwase Anglican Health Center. Of course, you know that if we were running a live or if we were running an in-person Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture, all of you we know would have done well to support us. So whether it is you have joined us on television, or you are with us on Zoom, or you are with us on Facebook Live or on YouTube, just like it scrolled on your screens, the number to send in your donation is 055 795 4927 055 795 4927. The official name on that mobile money platform is Anglican Young People's Association, ADC. So before we went on that break, we had Professor Alex Dodu, the renowned pharmacist, share with us some very, very great thoughts on the subject that we have chosen for today: the church, the youth, and COVID-19. And of course, we had some of your questions coming through, which we were able to put to him. We also had the opportunity to have him share with us various aspects of the presentation that has gotten to do with what the church must be focused on, what we must also be focused on as young people within the church. Even as we bring our virtual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture to an end, we would like to let you know that this 23rd annual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture has been brought to you fully virtually, on Adoatv, on Facebook Live. Our special guests were able to join us via Zoom, and of course a lot of you also were able to join us on the various other channels, YouTube and what have you. We want to thank you very, very much for being able to join us. We are bringing our event to a close shortly, but before we do that, after we have heard those amazing, and for those of you who are watching us on TV, these are some of our virtual studio audience who have joined us via Zoom. Of course, in an era of technology, we had to make people join us from their homes as virtual studio audience, while you also are able to join us watching television and being live on Facebook. Professor Alex Dodu in this presentation told us how, in an era of COVID, we have to leverage on technology so that we would limit the level of risk that we pose to each other, but would also not curtail all of our programming. So Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture for the very first time has been brought to you fully on a virtual platform like this. Of course, we know that in the past, when we did the physical session, we had some of you watching on Facebook Live and what have you, so it was a semi-virtual, but for this year we are doing a fully virtual session. So we'll cross over very soon to our chairman for the occasion, Dr. Joseph Gerald Tetenyanyo, who, of course, after delivering to us those amazing opening remarks, would do well to deliver to us his closing remarks, even as we bring this to an end. So, Doc, you have listened in to the presentation as was made by Professor Alex Dodu. Many of our audience who joined us on the various platforms have touted it as amazing presentation. As you deliver to us your closing remarks, what says you?
So thank you once again for having me. I must say that, well, let me add my voice in congratulating the seasoned professor on that masterpiece of a lecture. I did enjoy every bit of the presentation, and I have learned, unlearned, and relearned at this lecture. Like I mentioned, He's in a class of his own. Only a few people in his class can actually deliver this kind of lecture. I think he has taken us through how the COVID has impacted the church and the young men across the world, and has also given us an amazing takeaway as to how we can respond to this pandemic. Starting from, in fact, he took us through a historical safari into the origin of coronavirus, and was able to give us the dichotomy, the differences in various viruses and coronaviruses. He has mentioned that all over the world, viruses and bacteria have killed men under this sun more than any earthquake or volcano or wars. And so it's something that continues to stay with man. However, humanity would always recover from the pandemic, and every bacteria or virus infection is curable. And so that's a very big takeaway. He has also been able to demonstrate how the virus has impacted our lives as youth in terms of our family life, job opportunities, socialization, and interactions. And in diverse ways, individually, our developmental agenda has also been impacted. That notwithstanding, Prof has been able to demonstrate to us that we can leverage some of these challenges to create or develop new products, generate new businesses, be innovative, and find new ways of generating wealth. And I'm sure by the creative, the ingenuity that has been employed by the association for this year's lecture, we have adequately responded to this charge. And we say kudos to the leadership of the AYPA. As a church, Prof has also been able to charge us that this era of the pandemic is an opportunity for us to bring Christ's healing to humanity. And we thank the leadership of the church, particularly the decisive and able leadership of our right Reverend Daniel Toto, for trying to review our liturgical processes to keep us safe in this era of the pandemic. And we say thank you to him. My own admonition to all of us is that in this time of a pandemic, we don't have to fear. We have to apply ourselves religiously to the safety protocols and walk in the faith. On this note, I say thank you for having me, and I wish all of us the very best in the years and the days ahead.
Very well, and that was our chairman for this 23rd annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture, the academic, politician, church member, and a member of the association who has served his time, Dr. Joseph Gerald Tete Nyanyofio. Dr. Nyanyofio, thank you so very, very much for making time to join us and to chair this first ever fully virtual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture. I'm sure that 23 years ago, when the forebears started with our Aruna Nelson celebrations and our memorial lecture, little did they know that a year would come when we would have to go fully virtual, without us meeting physically in the conference rooms of hotels and various conference facilities within our church fold, where we have traditionally held our Aruna Nelson Memorial celebrations. But of course, for us as young people, this is our own way of letting our church know, or letting all of us, from the branch level, archdeaconry level, diocesan level, and national level know that our programming cannot be curtailed just because COVID has had a toll on us. We can still continue to have our programming and use various innovative ways to ensure that our programs come on and to ensure that we are able to serve Christ and his church. To Dr. Joseph Gerald Nyanyofio, who served as chairman for this virtual event, we say thank you very, very much. To Professor Alex Dodu, who delivered that profound presentation, we say thank you so very, very much. And to those of you who have joined us on our various platforms, we are very, very grateful to you that you were able to join us. I am particularly happy that we had the national president, Brother Benjamin Reiter, join us all the way from the 2nd D Diocese, of course, through the advantage of this virtual platform. We also had the director for the chairman for the Youth and Children Ministry, our very own Charles Nikujoade, join us. And of course, at the beginning, he delivered to us a message from the board. We have had many other people join us, archdeaconry presidents from the various archdeaconries within the Accra Diocesan AYPA who made time to join us. Our diocesan vice president who doubles as the planning committee chairperson for this Aruna Nelson Memorial Celebration planning, right from the launch that we held at the Christ the King Anglican Church in Sakumono through to today's event, and on we go. There are a few of your messages that you have shared with us. Even before we end, I'll be reading some of those messages, especially those congratulatory messages and kudos messages that you have shared with us. Of course, from the Programs Directorate of the Diocese of Accra, we have our brother KB Asante joining us. Thank you very, very much, KB, for joining us. And of course, our virtual studio audience who have joined us on Zoom, our past Diocesan Treasurer, Brother Lucas Samoa, our other past Diocesan Treasurer who joined us from outside of the country, and some of our past AYPA members who are joining us from various places. I can see many of you on the screen. In fact, I'm being pressured by the production team to have our virtual audience deliver to us the AYPA anthem. I'm not too sure of how chaotic or otherwise that will be as we try to do that, but perhaps that will be a very good way to wrap up a beautifully put together virtual session. So yes, if you can unmute, we want to hear you deliver to us the AYPA anthem from wherever it is that you have joined us with. The Archdeaconry President, Sister Natalie, Brother Enes Simonashi, Sister Vice President Nadesha Konmensa. If all of you can unmute yourselves while we take virtually our AYPA anthem. I'm tempted to give the tune for the anthem, but my voice is so terrible that if I dare try it, I'm sure. Who is ready to give the tune? Brother Eric, I'm told you are ready to give the tune. Or Sister Natalie, okay. Yes, we want to have a virtual tune from any of you on the platform so that we can take that. Of course, that's the beauty of having a virtual event like this. So who is going to do that for us so that we sing the AYPA anthem? I have told you that as the host for the event and the assistant president, if I attempt to do the tuning, everybody is going to go off key because my voice is as terrible as that. But of course, I can join in singing. So, Brother Eric, are you going to give us the tune?
Yes, I have.
Okay, please.
At the name of AYPA, every youth rejoice.
Right. So 1, 2, 3, go. At the name of AYPA, every youth. Okay, so I'm sure my production people have seen why I said trying to have a virtual audience. Okay, so maybe we'll take it this way. Perhaps Brad Derek and I will be in the lead so that you follow our lead. Other than that, we'll have a very chaotic anthem rendition on TV. And I'm sure that those of our parents and friends who are watching us on TV know our AYPA anthem to be better sung than the way we are rendering it. So, Brother Eric, give us the tune again, and then you follow my lead.
Okay. At the name of AYPA, every youth rejoice.
Very well. So we sing 1, 2, go. At the name of AYPA, Every youth rejoice. AY has its slogan. For Christ and the church. 'Tis the Father's pleasure to see AY through, to ensure the growth. Oh, you guys can join me here. The youth and the church. Yes, I have my studio folks trying to join. AY has its principles to guide its road. Worship, edification, fellowship, and work. For the youth uphold the banner of the Lord, and our hearts confess it, King of glory now. AYP. Amen. Thank you so very, very much. I'm sure that if we were, it was not for the iconic Adoatv that we have within the Anglican Diocese of Accra, we would not be able to have done this in such a beautiful manner for all of you. And that goes to say that all of us have an added responsibility to ensure that we support the growth of Adoatv. At this point, I think that we can all mute ourselves. Those of us who are on Zoom, we can mute ourselves so that we don't get the feedback from you. The technical team can also help in muting ourselves in that regard. Now I have a few of the messages also coming in. Our national AYPA president, Brother Benjamin Reiter, says, congratulations to Accra Diocesan AYPA for this virtual meeting on the celebrations of the 23rd Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture. It is my prayer that the good Lord will help ADC achieve its purpose and the targets for this year's celebrations. Thank you so very, very much, Brother Benjamin Reiter, for your messages of congratulations. Some of the other messages that came in still goes forward to congratulate us, the AYPA, for the presentation and for the virtual Aruna Nelson Memorial Lecture that we have brought up today. Let me, in our quest to wrap up for today's virtual event, thank you all very, very much for joining us from your respective homes, from your various offices, from wherever it is that you were able to join us from. Those of you who are AYPA members within the other dioceses who also had the opportunity to join us, we are very, very grateful to you for joining us. Those of you, our virtual audience who joined us on Zoom, Brother Jonathan, Anna Nasare, Sister Patience Ampa, Brother Jacob Yabosen, Brother Nana Indum, Monashi, Brother Derek Nikwe, Brother Benjamin Reiter, and Penyin Hinson, Sister Natalie Adi, Sister Nadesha Conmens, and our Assistant Vice President. Thank you all very, very much for serving as our studio audience, albeit virtually from your various homes and places of abode. This has been the 23rd Annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures, brought to you by the Accra Diocesan AYPA, and we are happy that you are able to join us. Remember that you can still do well to send in your donations even as you support our social responsibility project. Your donations can be sent through the AYPA's official mobile money number 055-795-4927. You can write it down, pick your pens and write it down, 055-795-4927. 927. The official name on that mobile money account is Anglican Young People's Association, ADC. And together with all of you, we will be able to mobilize resources enough to go tile the Anglican Health Center in Pokwase as our social responsibility for this. But of course, this could not have been made possible without the kind indulgence of our very own Adoatv, who has done very, very well to partner with us, the Accra Diocesan AYPA, to bring this event to you. So to the technical crew, to the camera team, to those of you in the production room, we are very, very grateful to you, from the leadership of Adoatv right through to all the team members and staff. We are grateful to you. On the screen are the details for our mobile money contributions towards the Pokwase Anglican Clinic, 0557954927. Please do well to send in your contribution, and we will do well to acknowledge your contributions at the appropriate time. On this note, let me thank the committee members who helped put this together, and the diocesan executives who have all joined in to make this ceremony a successful one on the virtual platform. My name is Sami Obain, Diocesan AYPA President, and I am glad that I was able to join you in your respective homes as host for this year's 23rd Annual Bishop Aruna Nelson Memorial Lectures. Even as we sign off, we say let's keep the spirit of the AYPA burning. Let's continue to support our respective parishes and AYPA branches, and let's continue to serve Christ and His church. Good night.
My God is good, yo.
Anglican Young People Association presents Bishop Aruna Kojo Nelson Week Celebration 2021. Date from Saturday 20th of February to Sunday 28th of February 2021. Celebration on the 20th. There will be lunch at 9 a.m. Topic: Make you His service your delight. Venue: Christ the King Anglican Church, Sakumono. Chairperson Mr. Bernard Bedu. Guest speaker Mr. Adam Moru Ajana, MD Kadesmi Holding. There will be lectures on the 25th at 5:30 p.m. Topic: the church, the youth, and COVID-19. Chairperson Dr. Joseph Netanyahu Fio. Guest speaker Professor Alex Dodu. Will be cast live on Adoatv, Facebook Live. Join us on Zoom meeting ID on the 27th, 6:30 a.m. Social responsibility. Pokwase Anglican Clinic. Send donation to 0557 954 927. AYPA ADC Mobile.
stand by for this short announcement.
Funeral announcement. His Royal Majesty King Takite Kuchuru II Gamanche Ni Tete Ashon Defeat Gasenche and head of Amili in Patway Ni Akropom Defeat head of Ni Te Kuchuru Way, the entire Paramount Stool Jase and the congregation of St. Mary the Virgin Anglican Church Akutulante with a heavy heart announced the sudden demise of their beloved son and youth choir master Bernard Ni Ayi Jaku Taki, affectionately known as Ni Ayi or Bra Bernard, which occurred on Friday 8 January 2021 after a short illness at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital. Funeral arrangements are as follows. Wake keeping. The body will be laid in state on Friday 26 January 2021 at the Paramount Royal Stoolhouse, Abola Tuma Way, near Oshafort, Accra. Burial service will be on Saturday 27th February 2021 at 10 o'clock a.m. at the forecourt of the Gamanche Palace, North Kanishin, near the Polyclinic, and thence to King Taki Royal Mausoleum for interment. Bernard Ayijaku Taki left behind a mother, siblings, cousins, family, and the youth choir of St. Mary the Virgin Anglican Church. Funeral rites will be under strict observance of COVID-19 safety protocols.